Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who do not know me or need an introduction, my name is Ria. I'm a former journalist turned vlogger, content creator, and I also work in marketing and public relations for a living. Today we're going to be testing out a couple of new products. It's part of a series I'm trying to figure out the name of still, but I'll probably pop it down somewhere here. I've got two names that I'm totally hung up on, so I'm gonna see which one I end up going with. I wanted to cover off looking at some drugstore items versus what you would get at like a Sephora or an Ulta. Now in Canada, we don't have an Ulta, but I do make my purchases in Sephora as needed. That being said, because of all the increased costs and inflation and all of the issues we're seeing right now around finances and money and just the market in general, I am trying to steer away from buying the more so-called high-end brands and turn back to the drugstore brands. I will say that drugstore brands have come a huge way, and even then there are some items that just aren't on the same level as drugstore brands. My eyebrow pencil, for instance, is by Essence. Before that I was using e.l.f. Today we are going to use two e.l.f. products, and we've also got a Maybelline product that we're going to try out as well. I do want to talk a little bit about the products I typically use on a day-to-day basis and their pricing. I will say the pricing is, as of this video, going up. So the first product I actually use on a daily basis, and I've actually used this product since I was probably 17 or 18, is the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. This has helped with my oily eyelids. I have tried to use other things, they just have not held up to the standard. My days used to be anywhere from 12 to 16 hours, so anytime I was going to be wearing a makeup look that required me to be on TV or take pictures or anything like that, I would absolutely reach for my Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. The next thing I definitely reach for on a day-to-day basis is my Makeup Forever powder. It is very expensive. It is very, very expensive. I remember when Makeup Forever used to be half the price. And the final thing I have been reaching for, not my favorite thing, but it's this Too Faced concealer. It's the Ethereal Light Concealer, and I believe it's in the shade Oatmeal. There was a concealer I was using previously in the Born This Way line that they had that I really, really liked, and I believe it was in the shade Cream Puff, and I noticed that they had pulled it from the shelf. I instead went for this Oatmeal shade, which I don't mind, but it's definitely not my favorite. I have very oily, acne-prone skin. As you can see here, this is a perfect day to test out whether these products actually work. Got a breakout, I've got some redness. My skin tends to be more on the red side, and while I typically swing a more neutral color when I'm picking out my foundations and my concealers and my powders, I do tend to look a little bit more pink. So sometimes if the shade is right, I will lean more towards a pink shade. We are going to be testing out the e.l.f. Shadow Lock Eyelid Primer. I did test this out a long time ago when e.l.f. first came to Canada and stand in like drugstores. I think it was $3 or $4 at the time, and it was awful. When it came out, the first thing I saw was like oil. It was just not good, and I was like, oh, this is going to be really bad. My hopes for this are really low, but I hope to be proven wrong. The next thing we're going to be testing is the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer. I am using the light ivory shade in this. This is actually a favorite of mine from the drugstore, and when I used to work in cosmetics, I would always recommend this to people because it is just, it's again, workhorse, great powder. The problem is they never have my shade, and it's really infuriating. So this is the Maybelline FIT ME Matte Poreless in 120 Classic Ivory. The two things I always use, there's technically three things, but because I do have a breakout today, I'm just going to stick with two things. The first thing I always use is a moisturizer. This one is the Ingredients Aqua Keeping Cream. I have said this before and I'll say it again. K-beauty and skincare is on a whole other level, and I actually do want to shoot a video on K-beauty at some point and give some of their stuff a try. I am a little bit concerned about how thin a lot of their products might be, so I'm thinking they'll probably not work out on my skin, but we're gonna see. And then the next thing I do is I usually take my sunscreen. This is the Roche Posay, I can't say it fancy. I know so many dermatologists will do these videos and they say it's so fancy. Antihelios XL. Usually here is where I start to see less redness in my skin, which is lovely. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna take our little e.l.f. product here, and this is what it looks like on my eyes. I still need to rub it in. I'm not going to change my application methods. So for this, I typically do a finger application, and for concealer and powder, I have respective brushes that I use. I already feel like it's oily. I already don't like how that feels, so that's not good. My two ride or die brushes are, and please excuse them, they need to be washed, but the Sephora 47 Pro Foundation brush, which is just, I can't say good like enough great things about it. And then the e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush is another really good one that I like. And this is cheap, it's like $7. This one was like 40 bucks. I am going to take the 16-hour Camo concealer, and I usually put it anywhere where I have a breakout or anywhere that I have like dark circles. I don't really get eye bags, but I definitely am rocking the dark circles, that's for sure. I'm also not going to change how I put my concealer on, so this will just be very typical of how I like to apply. I know this looks so silly. There is a bit of a discrepancy around the neck, which I don't like, but that's fine. I do like with the ethereal concealer that I can get away with it a bit more. So I'm just gonna blend that out. This is pulling quite pink, like very, very pink. A little more pink than I would like. I do like how quickly this dries, and I do like the coverage. I don't like how light it looks though. If I do end up getting this again, I might have to actually look at a shade up and mixing. I don't usually put product on my nose because I wear glasses and I just find it doesn't look very good. So typically at this stage I decide whether I need more coverage, and the answer is definitely yes, because I can already see that the two are peeking through. I'm gonna do one more layer of concealer. I do think this shade is a little bit too light for me. I also don't think I like how thick it is. Could be worse. Okay, so that's not awful. It looks really good on camera, but I don't know if I'm a big fan of it in person. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up this Maybelline FIT ME. And I usually have two methods to putting on my powder. The first is obviously I use a brush, and then anywhere that needs a bit more coverage, I will pat on the powder. I also have another powder that I use that's by Innisfree, but that one is a bit more pricey, and I use it where I would typically have a bit more oil. This feels a bit to me more like a filming makeup. I don't like how powdery it looks in person. There we go. Okay, so this is what my makeup looks like right now, which is, you can't, on camera, you can't see it. It looks it looks pretty good, but in person, I'm like, this is very heavy. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my look. I'm gonna dry my hair, and I will come back on camera and show you the finished look. Okay, and boom, here we are. This is the final look. I did notice that there was some pull, some dragon pull, which not my favorite thing when I am doing my eyebrows. I definitely like how decent my skin looks. Again, looks pretty good on camera. I don't know how I feel about it in person. It is a lot of makeup. It is more makeup that I've worn than I've worn in the last couple of years on an everyday basis. But let's try it out. Let's see how it is, just to give you a sense of what it all looks like. Here's a close-up. And then the other items I am wearing are blush, bronzer, obviously brow pencil. I am wearing mascara. The lip color is a lip liner and a lip gloss combo. I will have everything down at the bottom, and I just blow dried my hair. Nothing too complicated, nothing too fussy, because again, I'm just out running errands today and doing a little bit of work. So it is currently, I'm gonna call it for 2 p.m. I wanna do an 8-hour test, so we're looking at about 10 p.m., which is around when I try to settle in and get ready for bed. I usually go to sleep around midnight. Let's see what happens for the next 8 hours, shall we? Okay, so it is 2:40 p.m., well 2:39 p.m. I drove from Surrey to New Westminster to go run some errands. When I look at myself in the mirror, it looks pretty good. I definitely am like not having an issue with the way my skin is looking right now. Everything's covered up. It looks fantastic for what my skin is currently, so I'm definitely not mad at it. This has pulled orange though on my neck, which means I either need to get another shade or I need to blend it with another powder or something like, I don't know what the deal is with that. But honestly, if this does work out, I will probably buy the one shade down. My one concern with that is that I think the shade is called Alabaster. I don't think I'm quite alabaster down here, but I don't like that I can see the hyperpigmentation in my neck. I will come back and give another update. So it's 3:20 p.m. and this is the face right now. I'll just to confirm that it is 3:20 p.m. That viz is probably gonna be backwards, but that's fine. I don't feel gross. I feel fantastic. So I'm really happy with how this is looking and feeling. Face is a little bit dry right now, but the next big test will be to see what kind of cracks come up when I eat. I'm gonna go settle in at like a Wendy's or something, and then I may hit up to Lee's, but I'm not 100% sure. I just want to see what they have in there and walk around because I haven't been out today other than like for work purposes. So I'm gonna see how that all goes down. It's actually starting to rain, so we'll see how I feel, but I definitely want to get over the patello in the next little bit for sure. Okay, 10 after 4. This is what we're looking at right now. My skin feels really dry, but otherwise I haven't had to touch up. I do see that my nose is a bit oily, which is normal, so for all intents and purposes, so far, so good. Alrighty, it is 5:45 p.m. I just parked at home. You can tell that I went to Dairy Queen. I've had sores for a while now from the medication I'm using to clear up my acne. So you can tell that I'm obviously wearing makeup. I have not retouched my face. It definitely feels not as dry as it did previously, so that's cool. But otherwise, this isn't awful. Oh yeah, we got creasing. So this eyeshadow primer is definitely a bust because you can just see the lines on my eyelid, which is a shame. So that's too bad. But for $5, I'm not surprised. Okay, and here we are after 7 hours. This is as much as I could do. So let's take off my glasses first of all, and I'm just gonna make sure that my mic is actually on. Good, it is. Okay, overall, the experience was pretty good. I did not mind this makeup at all. I thought it was really great, but I think when I got home at around 5, instantly, the first thing I saw was this was creased, and I'm like, that's for sure not staying in the kit. Just like last time, the e.l.f. eyeshadow primer is gone. The hunt continues for another proper primer that I can actually use. You can see here, like obviously there are spots where the texture is starting to show and clearly the makeup is separating, but I'm not mad at this. I did not touch up my face the entire time. I was out doing errands, I was lazing on the couch. I didn't touch up my makeup at all. If this is what it looks like untouched, then I'm pretty sure it's manageable. The rest of my face looks great. So anywhere where there's been, like, to me, it looks great. I mean, you can see like where things are peeking out, but I think by wearing this with a couple of color correctors, and I have the color corrector palette from Kimchi, I want to try that with this combination. And the Maybelline FIT ME powder is actually thinner than the powder from Makeup Forever. I feel like the Makeup Forever one has a little bit more oil in it, which allows for a bit of a heavier coverage. We are keeping the Camo concealer, and we're definitely keeping the Maybelline FIT ME foundation powder. For the Camo concealer, I actually liked everything about it. So if I had to scale it, like give it a ranking from 0 to 5, I think I would give it like a 4. I don't think it's 16-hour wear for oily skin, combination oily skin. So there is that. And the powder, I'm gonna give a 4 as well. I don't want to try there are a couple of e.l.f. powders. I've tried them previously and I don't like them. They're very cakey. I haven't tried the Maybelline FIT ME concealer, but I'm really happy with this. And so if this hadn't passed the test, I was going to try the Maybelline FIT ME concealer, but why would I at this point? I'm really, really happy with a concealer that's $9 Canadian and seems to get the job done. The eyeshadow primer completely fails. So is there something else you want me to try? It doesn't necessarily have to be makeup, but I definitely wear quite a bit of makeup, so it just makes sense for me to try makeup. There are a few other things I've wanted to test out as well in the stationery realm. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want me to try. I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you so much for watching, and feel free to subscribe if you like. I will see you in the next one. Bye.